My name is Al Wallenberg. Thank you very much. And before I go, just wanted to play one song for Paul and Wendy. It's from the Civil War series. It's called The Ashcan Farewell. And Paul and Wendy, as you all know, are pretty special people, and they stuck by me through some pretty tough times. And this song's for you guys.
Well, for this next act, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Brian because he is the expert in Leota-isms and Elmer-isms. I have no idea.
Not Elmer-isms, but Leota-isms. Wendy and I, we grew up together. Our families were good friends, and Wendy and I grew up together. And in Leota, it's very common that everyone knows that when there's a groat or a Venesan wedding, that there's going to be a fantastic skit involved. And today we expect nothing less than that, nothing less than fantastic. At the last big Venesan de Groot wedding, I believe that was at Mark's wedding, Mark Venesan, and the skit that they did there was The Grinch Who Stole the Wedding. And Elaine, if you go to her house, she'll still talk about that skit. She made a little outfit for Wendy. Her and Wendy made one together, a little Grinch outfit, a little green one. Wendy did it all by herself, okay? But Elaine's very proud of it. They have it on videotape. And Elaine happened to be the Grinch for The Grinch Who Stole the Wedding. And she paraded around all over the church in a little costume during the skit. Wendy was who? The Grinch. Okay.
It's been a really good wedding.
Yeah, it was. It was a very good wedding. And they had Nick DeBoer in that skit. And Elaine still talks about Nick DeBoer's hair, how it was flying all over his face, and how they got him to wear a little hat and everything. But today, right now, we're going to have the Venesans and Coy families do their skit, and it's entitled The Leota Elmore Skit.
wrote the name. They had 3 children. Maybe another boy would be fine. But what a surprise in the hospital building. It was a baby girl, God's best design. Here tonight, can't leave these lovebirds here all alone. We'll search the world over, and then he found Wendy. Was it coincidence? It was love. Fighting for love, Wendy went her way. Reckless she drove in search of a hunk. Opened my new car, she heard her ma say, crash went the fender, and then it was junk. Here, agony on her. Dark depression, excessive misery. If it weren't for Ma's car, she'd have no car at all. Gloom, despair, and agony, you see. Then there were Deacon, Van Land, or Vanderkoy. She changed her name by marriage, not love. To Holland she traveled, wanting a Dutch boy. Here she found Arneberg. Now she is stuck. Here, you're here tonight. Can't leave these lovebirds here all alone. Paul searched the world over, and then he found Wendy. Was it coincidence? It was love. Wendy and Paul went out on Fridays. Sometimes they rode and sometimes they walked. See, Paul had a habit. Oh, where are my car keys? Look in the car, dear. Oh, no, it was locked. Here, you're new tonight. Can you love here all alone? Paul searched the world over, and then he found Wendy. Was it coincidence? It was love. Paul in his tux and Wendy in lace. They're joined together, they found a mate. The Arnebergs were nervous and Elaine a basket case. Wendy was gorgeous and Paul was not late. Here, we're here tonight. Can't leave these lovebirds here all alone. Paul searched the world over, and then he found Wendy. Was it coincidence? It was love.
I'm not even sure what this is. It's Dave Holt. He's going to be doing two, I'm assuming they're songs, National Enquirer and Country Codes. So, where are you, Dave? There. Yep, I'm just going to take the fur line. I wanted to chafe
Howdy.
Howdy.
All right, good. I was wondering if you kept me, but you know, I was really kind of nervous coming up here because the songs I'm doing kind of reflect my culture a little bit, which is down quite a bit south of here. I was looking at that thing and at the beginning of the program, it you know, I talked about this kind of dinner and program with the southwestern Minnesota kind of thing, and is I believe the first time I've ever heard Minnesota and South used in the same sentence. But I have to say, after that last sketch, I feel right at home here. Thanks, Paul. It's been good fellowship. Song I'm going to do tonight, kind of, well, actually I'm doing a couple of them. But the first one, the National Enquirer, I got to tell you, most people I thought would have a really kind of backwards view of what goes on in the South and what people from the South are like. I mean, you know, most people, the South is just that place back there. They haven't quite discovered electricity yet. You know, and indoor plumbing is still, you know, sort of a myth kind of thing. You know, with everyone having their outhouse out back. And for me, it was even worse because I wasn't just from the South. I'm from Louisiana, which, of course, you know, then you take everything everything you find everywhere else in the South, and then you add bayous, snakes, alligators, you know, everyone carrying their Bowie knife around with them. And you've got this picture of a really backwards kind of people. Actually, now that I think of it, not that much different from what most people outside tend to think of Minnesotans. But so I really feel fitting in here pretty good. But I do, in case there's few people here that don't realize it, I do want you to understand that we're not quite as backwards as everyone seems to think we are. You know, I mean, we've had electricity and plumbing, what, for at least the last 10 years. And contrary to, you know, the bayou image of Louisiana, I didn't go to school in a P-row every day, and I didn't wrestle alligators every afternoon. In fact, it must have been at least about 23 home from visit on a college before I wrestled my first alligator. But one thing, though, that makes me kind of wish in a way that we were a little bit backwards and out of date and out of touch with reality, perhaps, is that then we might be able to miss things like what I find every time I go to the drugstore or the grocery store and walk through the checkout counter, and there you see them lined up. You know, all these headlines blaring out at you like, "This woman is turning to stone." You know, or baby falls 5,000 feet out of an airplane and lives. Or my favorite one was when the Voyager passed Saturn. They had pictures and everything of a statue of Elvis on the planet's surface. And I don't know, it has to make you kind of wonder, you know, what people can sell and what people will buy. And so this song just kind of talks about a little bit of the kind of reaction some might have the person they run across with this stuff. Well, I was over at a buddy's house the other day when I heard nature call. Picked up the paper, a little and read, and then headed down the hall. I discovered the commendations and I made myself at home. I sat back, relaxed, opened up the paper to see what was going on. Now I consider myself a literate man and reasonably well informed. pyramid power will keep us all from growing old. Was Elvis a quadrisexual? Now the story can be told. Well, I read it in the National Enquirer. There's black and white for all to see. I read it in the National Enquirer. You can buy it in any grocery. Truth is phrased in fiction. Well, it ought to be. Now, when I read it in the National Enquirer, I couldn't help but agree. There were 13 psychic predictions sent directly through the astral plane. 35 miracle diets used by Hollywood's biggest names. The rich aren't really happy, but here's how you can get rich too. They say singing will give you cancer, but at least you won't die blue. Well, I read it in the National Enquirer. There, black and white for all to see. I read it in the National Enquirer. You can buy it in any grocery. Truth is phrased in fiction, and when it isn't, well, it ought to be. Now, when I read it in the National Enquirer, I couldn't help but agree. Well, I was so captivated that I overstayed my chore, until at last I gathered up my reading from the floor, and I reached to squeeze the Charmin, and there, to my chagrin, was just an empty cardboard roll where comfort should have been. Well, in the midst of this dilemma, an answer came to me. And I confess I'm sure my eyes did shine with evil glee. As I removed the staples to avoid bodily injury, I was comforted, relieved, and by the screw set free. Well, I read it in the National Enquirer. There's black and white for all to see. I read it in the National Enquirer. You can buy it in any grocery. Well, it ought to be. Now, when I read it in the National Enquirer, I couldn't help but agree. Oh, yeah, dun 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 dun. This next song just talks a little bit about one of our very favorite pastimes in the South, namely running over things in the highway, especially small reptiles. Like, you know, the armadillo. Has anyone around here actually seen a live armadillo? You know, I mean, I grew up thinking that they, like, their natural habitat was the highway. You know, Kingdom Rhodes kill us. But, you know, there's something else that's sometimes even more fun than an armadillo to run over, because an armadillo, you know, it's got all that armor there and it just kind of contains the splant inside. So small things, small reptiles are even more fun. Like, of course, just a common, everyday toad. Almost 7, West Virginia. Blue Ridge mama hangs out by the roadside. Dark and crusty, the quartz upon her knees. Smell just like a dead skunk, dying in the breeze. Country toads run down, squish 'em up. They'll turn brown like a frisbee. You can fly 'em, country toads run 'em down. Virginia. road.